Hey buddy, you ready to do part 2 of my hung axe collection? Huh? Where you going? Hey, I'm talking to you. Where you going? Did you want to do part 2? Alright guys, this is going to be part 2 of my hung axe collection. Enjoy. This next one is one that I purchased off a friend of mine. It is a Tasmanian pattern. It braids cockatoo. Let's see if I can show y'all that stamp. I don't know if y'all can make it out or not, but there's a stamp right there. B-R-A-D-E-S, and it looks like this number is really faint. Maybe 157. I can't tell what that is, but it does have a 4-2 stamp on it, so it's a 4.5 pound Tasmanian. He hung this, decided to let it go, so I picked it up. I did already have a Tasmanian, but it wasn't hung yet, so I got this to do chores around the house just to see how I liked the Tasmanian. I love the pattern, but I'd never used one before, and I'm glad I did, because the Tasmanian is one of my favorite patterns. Really cool axe. So this here is the first Tasmanian that I ever purchased. Got it from a guy who was a friend of a friend in a group that I was a part of. It's a Spearwell. It's a Spear and Jackson and Elwell, I think, came together to form Spearwell. Really cool emblem, and it's designated 4.5. Great geometry on this axe. It's not as thick as the cockatoo. I forgot to show you all the geometry on that one, but it's a worker. It does it all. Love this thing. Stamped. I don't know if y'all can read it. Made in England here. And this is the one that I used to take out that live oak. The one that I had to fix the handle on. And it's still holding up strong. Beautiful, beautiful axe. I absolutely love this thing. I'm glad that I finally hung it. I was scared for the longest time to hang this thing just because I had heard horror stories about hanging Tassies. But I'm glad I hung it because this thing turned out just awesome. Got some tree sap on there that I didn't get off. Go ahead and boil this whole thing up while I'm at it. Yeah, killer Tassie. This thing is so sweet. I love it. This next one I got from a guy in Maine. We've become pretty good friends. We chat quite a bit. Super cool dude. It is a Holtz Brook 5-star Avica. It is what they call their racing axe. It's very similar to a Tassie. I think the pole's a little bigger. It's kind of a cross between a Tassie and a Connie, but it's what they call their racing axe. It's on an original handle. I still can make out the HB symbol, an original hickory. Still has lacquer and paint on it. Something that I would have taken off if I would have gotten it originally, but I'm glad it's on there because it's all original, super cool. I guess their style of permabond head, if you will, and it is marked 4.5. Really cool axe. This thing is just sweet. Still has part of the paper label on it. Just a really cool axe. So this was one of the first axes that I ever hung. Came about it through a friend of mine. Made the leather mask for it. Turned out really good. Buddy knows that I collect Bell System tools. I also collect axes, so this was right up my alley. And this is a True Temper Flint Edge Kelly Works marked Bell System axe. Did my first ever cross wedge on it and hung it on a 28-inch handle because I didn't have one that short, and it came recommended, and it works really well. A little short for me, but I am spawn a Sasquatch. This thing is super cool. I like it so much I actually picked up another head so I can hang it for my brother, and y'all see that in part 2. But no, this thing turned out absolutely beautiful. Cool axe. Absolutely love it. Do have a couple of other Bell Systems axes. Like I said, I do collect Bell Systems, so at some point, if y'all would like me to go through and show my Bell System collection, it's not a huge collection by any means. Screwdrivers and wrenches and pliers and needle nose and all that kind of stuff, and just same tools, different manufacturers, but they all are marked Bell System. I'll be more than glad to do that as well if y'all are interested in seeing that. Yeah, but an absolutely beautiful axe. So up next is another Bell System. It is a lineman's hatchet. I'll make out that Bell System. And it is made by Stanley. This was a gift from some guys that I know. One of the guys found the head, another one supplied the handle, and another guy put it all together and hung it for me. And then they mailed it off to me and surprised me with it. Really cool. This community can be very great at sometimes, but there's individuals that aren't so great. You got to watch out, just with anything else. But overall, the axe and tool collecting community has just been phenomenal. I've been very fortunate to get to know a lot of people, meet people, talk to people on video calls, like historians, and just avid enthusiasts. I feel very fortunate to know a lot of the people that I know, and I've become friends with quite a few of them. That alone, I think, in my opinion, is worth more than any of the axes that I have in my collection, is the friendships that I've made. I mean, come on. They just put this together and sent it to me. I can't remember. I think the square cutout, I think is for tightening foot holds on the pole. I have to research that some more. I haven't really found a definitive answer on that, but if any of y'all know, please chime in the comments. Like I said, I think it goes onto the lug on the pole and they tighten it down. It's what I've been told, but I haven't gotten a definitive answer. I haven't found that information. I found conflicting information, so I didn't get a chance to ask my dad before he passed if he knew. Well, I asked him, but when I asked him, he didn't even know who I was at the time, so there's that. And that's because of my father and my grandfather is why I collect bell systems. Alright, well, let's get back to some more axes. So this next piece is another one that I hung. It is a True Temper Flint Edge Kellyworks Pulaski, marked 3-3. It is also marked United States Forestry Service. Super cool head. There's some other markings here. I think it was department markings. I can't really make it out. SUNR or something. I can't quite make it out. But this was one of my first hangs. Gotta make that. Lighting is not that great in here. This thing, I put it on an Adirondack, 28-inch Adirondack. I will say this without a doubt, that this is one of my favorite tools to use on the property. If you've got land that you work on, whether it's around your home or the deer lease or anything like that, if you don't have a Pulaski, you need to get one. They are so extremely useful. It's like a double bit, except for the double bitted portion is turned like a grub hoe. They were designed for Forestry Service workers so that they can make fire breaks and things of that nature. But this stunted blunt edge, while it has an edge to it, it's not super sharp because this side is made to go in the dirt, made to cut roots. I take out small saplings and little trees with it, dig with it, and I'm never worried about messing up the bit. And then, of course, this, you got your regular razor sharp bit meant for everyday felling and trimming and things of that nature. Very cool, very useful pattern. Like I said, it was designed for the Forestry Service, but it works phenomenally on property that I'm on, and I would imagine that anybody else who's got land that they clear or manage would love to have one of these in their arsenal. If you don't have one and you work on your property, your deer lease, your farm, your woods, whatever it is, go pick one up, hang it, start using it. Look at that, another Pulaski. I like the Pulaski so much that I hung another one. This is a True Temper Kellyworks, the world's finest Kelly. If you can make that stamp out. Love this stamp for some reason. It's one of my favorite stamps. But because I like the Pulaski so much, I went ahead and hung one on the longest handle I could find at the time, 36-inch handle. This is also marked Forestry Service, FS. And I figured if my wife and I were out together, we could both have one in our hands. So that's why I've got two. I had another head almost identical to this one. World's finest Kellyworks True Temper. The only difference is where this one has a stamp on the same side. The True Temper Kellyworks was on the opposite side of the World's Finest. It was going to be my wall hanger, but a good friend of mine, he and I are going to do a trade. I never would have thought about trading this Pulaski head just for the simple fact that it was so cool. But because he and I are such good friends, or I consider him a good friend, I'm making the trade with him, and I hope that he enjoys it. That's going out later today after this video. Alright, people, bear with me. I am almost done. Almost done. Have maybe 5 or 6 more to do. This is a super cool Boys Connie. I bought this from the guy that I got the other Tasmanian from. And it was one of my first decorative embellished axes. This is a J.M. Warren from Troy, New York axe. Super cool. I said it's a Boys Connie. Absolutely love this thing. It is just rad. I've never used it. I've never touched the edge on it. It came to me super sharp. Just a fantastic little boys axe. In my opinion, Boys Connie makes the perfect boys axe. Love this thing. Speaking of boys axes, this was the first boys axe that I ever had. The guy that I know who sent me the modified jersey, I told him I was looking for a boys axe, my very first boys axe. He had this, said it was a cool little axe. You can kind of see phantom bevels in it. It is, you make that out, a W.C. Kelly Perfect, Charleston, West Virginia, USA, registered U.S. Patent Office. From what he tells me, it's an older, hard to find head, and I think it's just cool, something to add to my collection. It was a very tricky hang because the eye was drifted crooked, so I had to do a lot of finagling with it to get it hung correctly. But the way the camera is set up, I'm not going to change the camera to show y'all. It is almost perfect dead on. This was one of my very first hangs. I think I know enough about it now that when I choose to, I can rehang it and get it perfectly centered down the line. But it is just ever so slightly kicked out at the bottom because the eye is not drifted correctly in this axe head. It threw me for a loop. I was calling all kinds of people, asking them what was going on, and they said sometimes that just happens. I said, I know enough now that I could correct that issue. Just a cool little boys axe. And I put it on, it was a 19 or 20 inch handle, I can't remember. Thought it was going to be the replacement for the HB in the woods at the campsite. But again, 2.5 pounds, I still like something a little heavier. Nonetheless, a cool axe. All right, this Craftsman Palladium double oval Connecticut pattern was the second Connie I ever purchased, and it's the first handle that I ever made. Thing came out super cool. I use it for a house axe. It's on a 21 inch handle, I think. No. Well, 21 to where the palm swell stops my hand, but it's on a 23.5 inch overall length. But this thing is just phenomenal for chopping and splitting kindling in the house. I absolutely love this thing. I love the Connie pattern. This thing is just, it's fantastic. I don't know what else to say about it. I love the pitting and the character that this thing has. It's got the perfect Connie profile. Didn't need the metal wedge. And most of the time, I'm going to touch on that real quick for hopefully somebody's watching. Don't really need your metal wedge. Metal wedges are to tighten up a head once it comes loose. You put the wooden wedge in here and it flares out around that eye. That locks that head into place. The metal wedge is just to tighten it up after it's loosened. This one was just decorative. I actually cut a slot in here and then put the metal wedge in and filed it down on the sides just for decoration. But this thing, absolutely beautiful. I love it. This next one is just a small hewing hatchet I got from my buddy over at Bad Axe Solutions. He and I did some trading, and this is one of the things I came up with. I can't wait to get a chance to use it at some point. Very nice edge on it. Feels great. A little thick through here and for my liking, but because it was gift / trade, I'm not going to do anything with it until after I use it and make up my mind on whether or not I want to, because of just the way it feels. But for me right here, it feels a little thick. It feels nice and thin through here, which I prefer. It's crazy. I've got large hands, but even on the back straps of my pistolas, I use a smaller back strap. I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me. It's a very cool little hewing hatchet. No markings on it. Have no idea who the maker is. And hopefully someday I'll get a chance to use it. So this is something a friend of mine up in Oregon sent me. It is a Holtz Brook made in Sweden hatchet. It is a 1 1/4 pound. Let's see if I can make that out. 1 1/4 pound HB with original paint on it. He hung this and sent it to me as a gift. Very cool. And it was interesting because he already had a gift going to him in the mail that he wasn't expecting. So I do that kind of thing. Just send stuff out to people, and when you make friends and you do things for them, and just cool that this showed up the same day that his package showed up. Very cool. Love this little hatchet. It rides on the lawnmower with me when I'm going around the property, and I just take out limbs and stuff as I'm going by so they don't hit me in the face. Trim stuff up with it. Rides perfectly on the lawnmower. Love this thing. Lastly, and I don't know if you'd call this mine or not, my wife told me that she wanted a beater hatchet to split wood with. She didn't like the house axe. She said it was too heavy for her. She was scared of it. So I found this probably Chinese, really fat wedged hatchet that she uses to split kindling here at the house. Original handle, but I octagoned it for her because it had a really thick handle, and now it feels just phenomenal. Nothing special, except for the fact it was something that I did for my wife, and she uses it, which makes me proud. 2 more people. Hold on, 2 more. Okay, sorry, I lied. 3 more. So this started life as a customer project. They came to me and said that they had some life changes, which I completely get. Been there, been through it. Probably will do it again. Said they weren't going to be able to continue with the project. So basically, I got this head for little to nothing because of the work that I'd already put into it. It is a Collins bus axe. It's a little 2.5 pound. Oh, it's 2 3/4 pound, I think, when I weighed it. I put it on a 28-inch, super thin and curvy handle. And this is my truck axe. I live out in the country. I cannot tell you how many times trees have fallen across the road, and I've turned around and driven 7 to 8 miles the other way just to find another tree. So I started using this to clear the roadway for me and others. And because I'm in the country, I might be a first responder. And a little bus axe with a spike is perfect for helping extract somebody from a vehicle. This thing is cool. I love it a lot. Turned out fantastic. And the mask that I made for it, kind of a prototype. You just slide the spike in the back of the mask, slide that up on the bit, and snap it closed. For those of y'all that don't know, I was a certified firefighter and worked on a volunteer department, 25 plus years ago. Loved it. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it. Helped a lot of people. So fire axes have a big special place in my heart. And this fire axe, on an all original handle, it has seen some use. It came out of, well, the guy that I bought this from, I bought quite a bit from him. He actually goes everywhere around here and snatches up everything he can find. But he got this from his commanding officer. It was sitting in the hangar at a military base here, not too far from us. And this was in their hangar for years. He asked his commanding officer if he could have it. And his commanding officer said, all you got to do is replace it. So he bought another fire axe and replaced it and came up with this. And like a lot of people, or some people, once you have it for a while in your collection, you get to where you don't love it as much and you don't mind seeing it go. So he let it go, and now I'm the new proud owner of this True Temper Kelly Works 6-pound fire axe. Really cool head. I did clean it up a little bit. There was some mushrooming back here on the pole. Still feel it raised a little bit. I didn't want to take it down too far. But I didn't go crazy on it. Tried to leave it as original as possible. This thing is super cool. A little nicked out here on the side. Paint's all worn and beat off of the handle. But it is a really cool piece of history, and the fact that it came out of a military base just makes it that much cooler in my eyes. Now, I thought that I was almost done. I have a few more to show. I keep going over to my axe rack and seeing things that are hidden. A couple of beat up Carpenters hatchets that I need to clean up. These were gifts. Both of these were gifts from a friend of mine, a YouTube buddy. I think they're going to clean up nicely and be effective users. They both need to be rehandled, and this one definitely needs some work on the bit. Can't make out any stamps on that one, but this one, I don't know if we can read it or not. I don't know if y'all can see that. I can't tell what it says. Yeah, I can't read it, but there's a stamp there. Make a cool little carpenter's hatchet once I clean it up. Both of them are going to make cool little carpenter's hatchets. Alright, this one and one more. If y'all have watched the channel for any time, y'all have seen this. This is the brush axe that my buddy gave me that I restored and used quite a bit and have used since. This thing works phenomenally well. I need to clean it up a little bit more. But painted it so I could see it very easily if I laid it down in the woods. Restored this, and I've used it multiple times in the woods on the property around here. It has just come in super handy. Didn't really know what I was going to do with it at first, but it's because it had a busted handle. I wanted to see if I could save the handle. Y'all probably watched that video. It didn't go too well, and I knew it wouldn't, but it was for science reasons, right? You know, had to try to do something new and different. It was interesting, and it taught me a lot. Mainly, it taught me just to follow my gut instinct and just to replace the handle from the beginning. But no, absolutely great tool for the property. I'm glad that I was gifted this, and I have used it quite a bit. Okay, lastly, for my hung axes is the very last hang that I did. Rosewood with Paduke palm swells on a phantom beveled jersey is a Belnap Bluegrass. If you watch the video, like I said, the cross wedge didn't turn out perfect. I tried to smash it down in there, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave it. Being imperfect is perfect. It's locked in there. I have beat the snot out of this thing, and if it ever comes loose, I'll redo the hang, but it's holding tight. It's got a lot of sentimental value. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my video on the hang of this axe. This is by far not my favorite pattern, but because of what this represents, my favorite axe. Absolutely beautiful. I am going to make a mask for this, a leather mask. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to that. So there's been some life changes. My videos are going to be coming shorter, less frequently, I should say, because I'm going to be traveling a lot for a new job. But when I get the chance, I'm definitely going to still be working on projects. My next project is to make a mask for this, because I want to try a few new things, and then make a mask for the giveaway axe. Look at that. Geometry is just absolutely killer. Well, I almost forgot to show y'all this one. It's so tiny, so small, that I overlooked it. This is, get the focus, Belnap Bluegrass sounding hatchet. It was broken. The handle was split, but I glued it back together. I think this is the original hang. There's not much meat on the fawn's foot for me to try to reseat the head, so I just left it. But I cleaned it up, fixed it, and it's a little cool little axe. This thing, I didn't know for sure if it was a salesman sample or a sounding hatchet. Asked some questions of some guys and got some flack about asking, but is what it is. Did come to find out it is a sounding hatchet. They get confused quite a bit just because they're super small, but a salesman sample's supposedly even smaller. Very cool piece to have in the collection. Makes a good box opener. Appreciate y'all tuning in and looking at my hung axe collection. Hey, sit, lay down, lay down, down. Hey, you lay down. Stay. Was that 34 axes? My collection's not as big as some, but the 2 years that I've been doing it, I think it's a decent little collection. I like it. I have a couple of crates full of loose axe heads, drawers with axe heads in it, so that'll be part 2, maybe 3. I don't know how long this video is going to be. If this video is overly long, it'll be a 2-part, but I truly appreciate y'all tuning in. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. You ready, buddy? Come here. Jump. Whee-ah! Jump. Yeah. You're such a good boy. Remy, come on. Jump up here. Come on. Get up here. Oh, do you need... Come on. All right. It's kind of far away. Can you make it? Yeah, I did scoot that back, didn't I? All right, let's try it again. Hey, come on, buddy. Come up here. Come up here. Up here. Come on. Do it. You need to sit on me? Is that what you're telling me? You need to sit on my legs? Come on, buddy. Jump up here. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, you're such a cute little boy. Yeah. You like that? You like that new treat? It's like a sausage filled with cheese, isn't it? Look, you missed some right there. Clean up after yourself, buddy. All right, come over here. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. Stay. 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 Good boy. Stay. Stay. Lay down. Lay down. Good boy. Stay. Down. Stay.